Hey, big guy. What you looking for? Looks like Joe Biden is looking for Jackie again. Folks, it's bad. Really bad. Joe Biden is president. Kamala Harris is vice president. And it's not even bad anymore. Now it's bad, bad, and worse. Wow. Race, racism, economic destruction, lies, rebranding, Sodom and Gomorrah, levels of crime across the country. The Democrats are in top form. All of that is not new to the left, but they're certainly getting better at it, aren't they?
Pretty good shape, huh?
Yeah, watch me.
Which leads to my next question.
Our number one, checking off all the boxes, continuing to show all his true colors in his rare moments of lucidity. Rare. After seeing dead people last week, our clueless in chief personally thanked a Coast Guard swimmer for saving lives in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. The irony is that Coast Guarder faced discharge over Biden's draconian vaccine mandate. You really can't make this stuff up, folks. And what's our number two up to these days? Well, she's busy. Put her foot in it. You know what? Playing, what else? The race card.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity.
That is insane. So not hurricanes are racist now, Kamala? Is that what you're saying? If there's one thing we've learned among the so many things we've learned, it's that when a Democrat utters the word equity, run, folks, because that word means something very different and very disruptive to the left. The left made the COVID pandemic about race, politics, and control. The left is now making the so-called climate crisis about race, politics, and control. And the left makes absolutely everything, every crisis and moment about, you guessed it, race, about politics, about control. But of course they do. And of course she does. Kamala Harris walked back to her awful comments, right?
Mr. President, can you clarify what you meant about equity for hurricane relief?
Love that music. All those liberal elites there. Oh, you thought she'd walk it back? Of course she didn't. But FEMA head Dan Criswell, not Griswell, right, Mr. President?
And the FEMA administrator, who's become the MVP here these days, I spent a lot of time in this room, Griswell of FEMA and the entire workforce.
Griswell. The director of FEMA, Deanne Criswell, did have an answer for Kamala because how could she not? The Veep's comments caused such a stir, a flurry of anger and panic. So Criswell laid out all of that equity nonsense. She put it all to rest, insisting that Hurricane Ian, that aid, will be provided to all communities as it should.
I was on the ground Friday and Saturday, and I committed to the governor then that we are going to provide assistance to all Floridians because we know that there are people that are just completely devastated from this storm. We are going to be there to support everybody that needs help.
See, that's cleanup. That's cleanup on aisle 5. The head of FEMA trying to undo Kamala's dangerous word salad, putting fears to rest because the number 2 in the country created panic. Unnecessary with her ridiculous equity comments, whatever that means. Funny thing, isn't it? Liberal elites throwing around the word equity. If Kamala is so worried about getting help to all of those in need, why doesn't she throw on some waiters? Head down to Florida. Come on. We're waiting for you, Cammy. Help get relief to all of those down here in Florida. She wouldn't do that, and she won't. The border czar refuses to venture south of the Florida-Georgia line. The repeated failing of our Veep has even Bill Maher calling for her to drop because if anyone knows how to be worse than Joe Mencha, it's Cammy.
Could see is replacing the vice president because, yeah, she's not very popular anywhere, and it didn't seem to work out. And I don't know, that's been done before on a ticket, you know.
Yeah. How about Buttigieg? If I were him, I would. Hey, just saying. But you see, He even justified comments about Kamala Harris and the seriously botched and embarrassing vice presidency are deemed as bigoted. They're racist if you call them out. Even when a known liberal comes after her for the incredibly awful job she's done. You know, it's no wonder the whole country watches the state of Florida, looking for that kind of step-uppance, drooling over the notion of a real leader like that, where Ron DeSantis rightfully issued a stern take-no-crap warning to those who adhere to Biden's America, to Joe's ideals of lawlessness. He told them, don't even think about looting in Florida.
The other thing that we're concerned about, particularly in those areas that were really hard hit, is, you know, we want to make sure we're maintaining law and order.
Of course.
Don't even think about looting. Don't even think about taking advantage of people in this vulnerable situation. You can have people, you know, bringing boats into some of these islands and trying to ransack people's homes. I can tell you, in the state of Florida, you never know what may be lurking behind somebody's home. And I would not want to chance that if I were you, given that we're a Second Amendment state.
Well, you want to know something? That's what happens in natural disasters. People take advantage of the vulnerable. Florida, a Second Amendment state. Amen to that, by the way. But what does Joy, racemonger Reid, happy Joy, what does she do? She gets triggered, of course. So what does Joy do? Well, she race baits, and she evokes a segregationist from the 1960s, of course. Just to look at Joy Reid's ridiculous, and by the way, very, very racist response to DeSantis' very valid concern when Reid tweeted, quoting here, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts. Segregationist Miami Sheriff Walter E. Headley, 1967, didn't take DeSantis long to return to form." Wow. 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 Seriously. So now it's racist to call for people not to loot homes? So now a warning to looters from the governor of the state of Florida is somehow a segregationist comment? Again, proving that there's no disinformation that MSNBC won't stoop to, and once again proving, ironically, just how inherent racism really is among the leftist so-called journalists like Joy Reid, as she very openly insinuates that looters cannot be white, but only minorities. Right? It has to be. He didn't say a color. She did. To recap, Joe Biden, racist.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community.
Oh.
Mainstream African-American, who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
You ain't black. Nice, articulate, clean African-American. He was talking about Barack Obama. What a racist. All right, Dr. Taco, Joe Biden, racist too.
Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, is your strength.
Yeah. Kamala Harris, also racist.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions.
No. Natural disasters don't pick a color or a community. They just go. Nancy Pelosi, by the way, racist.
Right now, the best thing that we can do for our economy is to have comprehensive immigration reform. We have a shortage of workers in our country, and you see even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here.
We need them to pick the crop. We need them to pick the crops. Did she just say that immigrants are only good for this country to pick the crops? How is these things not racist? How is it if it comes out of a Republican or a conservative? It's the most racist thing they've ever heard on the left. But when the lefties do it, nothing to see here, folks. Joy Reid, racist. The entire Martha's Vineyard population, racist. All hail the party of racism. Everybody.
have very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers.
How you say cucumber? And every chance he gets, Joe Biden reminds us that he's squandering what's left of our wealth, digging our entire economy into the ground.
I'm so sick of Republicans saying we're the big spenders. Give me a break. Give me a break. And by the way, this bill is going to reduce the deficit by another $300 billion over 10 years.
Idiot. He already spent $10 trillion off budget. $10 trillion saying Republicans are the spenders. Lies. Just repeated lies. It's already been shown and proven that his ridiculous bill will not reduce the deficit. It will not reduce inflation, and yet he lies over and over, doubles, triples, quadruples down. That ridiculous climate change bill Joe keeps bragging about will be the end of our economy, the end of our energy sector, our middle class, the climate change, where the weather is always your fault. And the only solution is more communism, more free money, more bailouts. It's going from bad to worse, folks. It's not getting any better. I say it all the time. And here, it just keeps getting worse. And while Joe Biden stumps for pro-crime candidates and Kamala Harris calls soft of crime DAs truth tellers.
The need then for some of the most trusted elected officials to clarify the state of the law. And in the midst of the vast amount of confusion, the need of you as the truth tellers.
Yeah, and they need them. Imagine that. Those who let criminals back onto the streets are being deemed as heroes, as truth tellers by their New World Order leaders. A George Soros-fed line, no doubt. But the only truth being told is this: the level of crime being perpetrated, allowed, forgiven in the streets of the cities run by Joe and Cammie's blue-headed minions is astonishing.